Kirsten,
Yes, ma'am.
rename yourself.
Rick, what should I do?
Oh,
Howdy hi, howdy ho.
How about
howdy
I think I've
doody.
used howdy before.
Howdy doody.
You said duty.
Yeah.
Childish. Let's see. I got a whole list. Here we go.
Hallelujah, perhaps.
There we go. I changed mine.
In homage to our extravaganzas last week.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, that hurt.
Oh man,
When Lacey was like, "Are you guys mad at me?"
So,
Yeah.
I was not mad. You were mad. I was not mad. I was like, you know what, this was fun, and you know what, we did find it, so it was worth it. Bear, I have a question for you. Have you ever seen the Hollywood sign not lit up at night?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I had never seen it not lit up.
There was a whole period in like the early 80s where it was in terrible disarray, and they stopped lighting it up. And then a benefactor, who we eventually found out who it was, donated several $1,000,000 for them to fix it up and make it fabulous again.
Wow.
Eventually we found out that was Hugh Hefner.
Oh wow. I wouldn't have guessed.
Yeah. He loved it in LA.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. That was his town. Yeah, so I mean, he was a complicated guy. I mean, yeah, he was, all 100% misogynist, but he was also he was also a champion of free speech. He he was also, oddly, a champion of women's rights and pay equality and all that. His daughter, took over and became president of Glidden Enterprises. And, he was a lot of contradictions. I don't know if I ever told you the story where I met him once.
I believe you did, but I'm not sure if it was on live or not.
So I was in a band in the early 80s, and our manager got us a gig at the LA Playboy Club. And this band was was fronted by an Elvis impersonator. So basically we did all Elvis music. And the Elvis impersonator was named, so reverse is in honor of Hugh Hefner. We've got a reverse striptease going on here.
Yeah, sorry.
Bossy's sweatshirt.
Bussies.
So
beautiful.
Yeah, so the a little bit about this Elvis impersonator. He called himself King Creole. He was black. He was very very beautiful. I mean, he was, kept himself in great shape. He had a huge baritone, operatic baritone voice. He had trained as an opera singer, but there's not a lot of gigs for a black baritone opera singer. At least there weren't back then. And so he ended up doing Elvis impersonation. He also did, later on in his career, he did James Brown at the Legends show in Vegas. He did that for a number of years. But for this, he called himself King Creole, and he was amazing. He did an amazing Elvis impersonation. He would do all the karate and everything.
The gyrating.
He would wear the jumpsuit with the big emperor collar, the sequins and everything. I mean, you'd have thought it was Elvis if he wasn't black. And of course, Elvis's music was all black music, and that's why it was so popular, because no white artist was doing that at the time. And even his moves, his hip gyrations, he got that from the black clubs down there in Tupelo, where he grew up. Now, he grew up on the wrong side of the tracks in Tupelo, in the black community, because that's where his mom could afford to raise him. And that's where he got all his stuff. anyway, so we were hired to play this, one night at the Playboy Club. Hef loved to have strange, odd acts, and he especially liked stuff that might be controversial. And Black Elvis was perfect. So the room where we're playing was like set up like a living room, Playboy Club stuff. Shag, thick shag carpeting, no chairs. Everybody's like sitting on pillows, and
At least they're not sitting on people.
Some of them probably were. The stage was just a raised, round platform in the middle of the room, and so we set up there and we're playing. And every night, our lead singer, King Creole, his name was Levi Walker. He would want to do one song a cappella. And so this time he did Love Me Tender. And, and so the band is just, sitting back, and he's doing this, Love Me Tender, love me, and he gets down on one knee in front of, so there's a couple sitting like close to the stage, and it's a man and his date, very beautiful woman. I think he gets down on one knee in front of her, and it's just, locked his eyes with her, and he's singing Love Me Tender, and she literally fainted.
It happens to the best of them,
Yeah, she just out like a light, and her date picks her up, carries her out. But later on after the set, we're back in the green room, and Hef walks in and just wanted to meet the band, tell us that we did a great job. Apparently he did this a lot. If he was in town, he would like to meet the bands and have a little chat. And this is one of the few times in my life I've been literally starstruck. I blew it in the middle. I don't think I said anything coherent. Shook his hand. But that's my
worst.
Pardon me?
I'm the worst at being starstruck. Like, if somebody tells me some Joe Smo on the street is famous, I immediately start fangirling. Like, there's no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard. So,
growing up as I did in Hollywood, around famous people, I'm not usually like that. But there's a few people that, meeting Paul Simon did that to me. There's been a few. So I just realized I don't have my bottle of water here, and I don't think I'm going to make it.
Oh,
so
no.
I'm gonna let the mice will play while the cat's away. I'll be back in a moment.
Yay!
Cue the music video that we just watched.
Yeah. With the freaking mice, dude, that was sick. What?
Play it now.
Should I do that? Should I play it?
Yeah, intermission.
Okay, so
I'm making you host. Hold on, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Okay, there you go.
Okay, so it has share sound on all. I'm not even going to introduce it. I'm just going to let you guys enjoy. I'm just going to let you guys enjoy. Here we go.
All right, we vibing. Go.
Mouse.
It's such a freaking bop, bro.
Hey, kitty. Go, kitty.
Hey.
I don't want the choreography. I'm so into it.
I like the secretary. I don't know what her role is.
Mouse.
That was beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us.
You're welcome.
With the world, really. Porcupine Butler is here.
Yeah,
Oh,
let's
okay,
do
so we've
this.
got-
Hi, Porcupine.
We have our people here.
Pork, pork,
Where's my
pork.
little chat window?
Mouse goes squeak.
I didn't
Yes.
say anything because he just did his.
Hold on, I'm putting it in there. Hold on.
How do I break this out as a oh, here it is.
Kirsten
Opt
has
out. That's what I want.
spontaneously
Opt out.
disappeared.
Did you like that?
Yeah, I thought that was really great.
I should have done it during the intermission, but I was just vibing too hard.
Me too, dude. Did you see me? I was head banging, bro. And it takes a lot of force to get the kitten to move. So in real life, I was like
Get
freaking moshing, bro.
kitty's moving.
Yeah.
But when they all run into the mouse hole, that's just the silliest thing. I mean, obviously when the whoever created that commercial pitched it, that was the pitch. Okay, you've got all these kawaii girls and they're singing, they got the little mousers, and then the cat shows up and they scurry off into the mouse hole. That was the pitch. Had to.
I think so.
So yeah, I do have something that I want to talk about. And and it's actually not a bad segue from the
mouse video.
No.
Well, I mean, you could connect the dots there pretty easily. It's an ad campaign for a company that hires people. How do you think those girls got hired? They probably were dancers for a long time.
Well, yeah, but no, I mean, knowing a little bit about how the idol industry works in Japan, they were groomed from a young age, and they went to idol camp, and they spent years learning those moves and all of that stuff, and they get like a few years when they're like 14 to 16, and then they're fired because they're too old. I mean, that's how the idol industry works in Japan. It might have gotten a little better in the last few years, because I understand there's a few acts now that have they've gotten into their 20s and they're so popular that they keep. But I'm not sure if that's more in Korea than it's in Japan. There is baby metal. Have you heard of baby metal?
Yep.
They have that song about chocolate. I don't know if are we just gonna really do this? Hang on a second here.
Well, we could circle back to that after you bring up the topic which you would like to bring up.
Yeah,
then we can have a little dance break.
Okay, we'll do that. Oh my God, I have to
Porcupine
decide
said, what
which
are we playing tonight?
there's several of them. So
Apparently,
I'm
baby
because
metal.
I'm looking at the pictures of them. Yeah. Okay, we'll do that one from the 9 years ago, from their first album. All right. So so you want to get a job, but you don't have experience. You're new at this. You've been watching my videos and learning how to program, and you want to.
Hey, Bear, wait. Pause real quick. Time out.
All right.
Okay, Bear, can you go back to your audio settings? I'm so sorry to ask this. Can you go back to your audio settings and put your background noise suppression to low? Oh, the fan sound is back though. Okay, hold on. Here's what you could do.
So am I not speaking directly into my microphone?
There we go.
Yeah, perfect.
That's all we
All right.
needed.
That's perfect.
So that's what we
So much
need.
better. Yes.
All right. You let
Carry
me know
on.
if this doesn't work. And
Yep.
I know what I got to do about those fans. I need to take these outside and clean them, and I probably need to replace the cases or replace the fans or something. It's but I know what's going on. And
Are those the air purifier fans?
no, they're my hard drives.
Oh, got it. Okay, coolio.
Yeah. So yeah. Hang on a second here.
I'm sorry to have interrupted you.
No, that's all right. Yeah. So you want to get a job, and you don't have any experience. And this is the old catch-22, you know. You can't have a, you can't get a job without experience, and you can't get experience without a job, right? And so, so what do? Well, what I did is I went back in the 70s when I wanted to be an electronics engineer. And yes, somebody's noticing Kirsten yawning. Um, and you know, so I built a couple of projects. I went to the library at UCLA Engineering Library. I learned the things that I needed to learn. I wanted a synthesizer that worked with my guitar. And eventually I built one. Hey, Info, we're all doing great. How are you? And, you know, it took me years because I knew nothing and I was just a kid. And, you know, I think today it would be easier and quicker because the tools are better and you can learn stuff on the internet rather than, you know, going to the library and fishing through books and spending all that time, you know, searching for the stuff to read. You know, you could spend more of your time just reading. So yeah, and that's what I did. I built a few projects. I built some amplifiers. I did eventually build a hexaphonic pickup for my guitar, but that was quite a project. And then eventually I got excited about software and I did the same thing. Info, I hope you did great on your exams. Good for you. And yeah, and when I got interested in software, I did the same thing. One of my favorite things to do, and these same projects, I every time I learn a new language, I do the same projects. I have one where I convert different numeric systems to different numeric systems. I actually built one, and it's in my CGI book. If you have my CGI book, or if you can find a copy of it, it's probably in the library if you have a library nearby, where I built an application that converts decimal numbers to Roman numerals. And that was fun. And, you know, I've got the one that like converts numbers to words and it'll tell the time in words. You know, just a bunch of these little small projects. And when I started out, I would go, I mean, it's different today, obviously, but it's the same also. I would go to the newspaper stand and I would get newspapers from around the world, but only the Sunday papers. And I would go to the want ads and I would look in the want ads for, you know, they need programmers or software engineers. Back then they called them programmers. And I would apply. And when I had the interview, I would bring in code. I'd bring in a stack of code. Here's a bunch of code that I've written. And, you know, because the first thing they would ask me, okay, where'd you go to school? I didn't go to school. But here's my education. And, you know, give them a stack of code that I had written. And they would look that over and they go, yeah, we want this guy because he's got initiative. He obviously self-starter. He can obviously manage a project. He can complete things. I mean, this is the stuff that an employer is looking for, right? An employer wants somebody who actually finishes shit, you know, and who can take care of themselves and you know, isn't going to come to me every 5 minutes. Well, how do I do this? You know, no, they're going to find out and they're going to do it. And if they get really stuck, they'll tell you that they're really stuck. But, you know, another one of my favorite stories, because I'm completely self-educated and I never went to high school. I never went to junior high school. The highest grade I finished was the 6th grade when I was like, I don't know, 12 years old or something. And when I was working on electronics and I had partnered up with this guy named Jim St. Louis, and we had started a little company called Music Computer, and we were building like power amplifiers and building stuff, electronics for music and audio and synthesizers and things like that. A friend of his told him that they needed somebody to work for this company in Santa Monica that had a contract with NASA to work on the Voyager project. And he recommended me because he'd seen my work. He knew that I could get stuff done. He knew that if I didn't know something, I could learn it and get it done, right? Because this is all, at the time, this is all cutting edge stuff that hadn't been done before. So you needed somebody who could figure out how to do things that hadn't been done before and get them done. And that's what I was good at. So become good at that. Anyway, when I went down there for the interview, I had built a little circuit that I could show them. You know, here's something that I could build, and it was a little amplifier and a little circuit. And the chief engineer there, he looked at the schematic and he says, "This won't work." And he went to the chalkboard. He was just testing me. He went to the chalkboard and he filled the chalkboard with a whole bunch of calculus, most of it pointless, to explain to me why it couldn't work. And I went up to the board and I erased a couple numbers and corrected them, and I showed him his mistake. And, you know, this is the chief engineer there. He's got, you know, lots of letters behind his name. And I'm just this 17-year-old kid who went to the library and learned math and electronics at the library. So this is my advice to people who are looking for how to get the experience without the job. And the advice is, one, become an expert at learning. Two, become an expert at managing yourself, at getting yourself to actually do the thing, right? There's, this is one of the things that's probably the hardest, because I got to drink some water.
Well, I'll chime in for just a second. I remember when I was going through the interview process for this position, and I remember I said
DJ was tough, wasn't he?
He was, but it was a good tough, you know, like
that's his job.
You know, and it's totally fine. But I remember there were just like a few things that I said where he was like, "Oh my gosh, Bear's gonna love you," and I was like, "I feel like you're not supposed to be telling me that, but okay, like I'll go with it." But one of my things is if I could be a professional student, like if that could be my job, then that like sign me up yesterday.
I consider that a big part of my job.
Yeah.
You know, I don't go to school. I would have loved to have gone to school. I don't think I would have done well in school. I would love to have had that experience. Well, I mean, who I am today might do well in school. Who I was 40 years ago was.
I think you would have done well, but I think you would have absolutely hated it, because I feel like college these days, it's not about what you know or how well you can regurgitate information. It's how well you follow the rules. I remember one time.
Well, that's part of it. Yeah. I actually, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I was doing dual credit in high school and I was taking college classes at night. And one of my like final projects for one of my government classes or my econ class or something like that was we had to, it was a professor who wrote his own book, like, okay, whatever. But he was like, read my whole entire book and then summarize each chapter in a page. It was only like 12 chapters. It really wasn't that big of a deal. But the fine print it said that it had to be handwritten. And I turned mine in and it was typed.
Oh no.
Oh my God.
0 and tried to fail me in the class. And I was like, this is ridiculous.
That's a power trip though.
Yeah. So I was like,
no, I wouldn't have made it through that.
He was
I would have stood up right in front of the whole class and told them what I thought about it.
Well, he said that I did have an opportunity to redeem myself for half credit and still be able to pass the class. But I had 2 hours to take my 12 pages of typing and
oh my God,
for them into handwritten pages.
I would have stuck that pencil where the sun don't shine.
About it, but I was too chicken shit back then.
Well, and you wanted the degree. I mean, you know,
Right.
you wanted the credit.
Yeah.
So I did for a few weeks after I was done at Merit, which is the company, the subcontractor for NASA that worked on the Voyager program. When I was done there, I decided that I wanted to see if I could get a degree. And so I went to Santa Monica College And I got them to admit me without a high school diploma because I passed some test or something. But I never did get a GED or a high school diploma. But I enrolled in a few classes. I bought the books at the bookstore, and I started going to these classes, and I could have taught those classes. And the teachers would make mistakes, and this was always my Achilles heel. The teachers would make mistakes, and I would correct them in front of the whole class. And they did not appreciate that.
Oh no, that's the worst thing you could do is correct somebody.
At about the 5-week mark, it was just the deadline before I could return my books and get full price back for them. I returned my books and left. But not before making a little bit more money, tutoring the art students in their math requirements. That was always one of my favorite things to do. I've always loved to teach, and I've always been good at it. And it's always brought me a lot of joy to see the light, light up in somebody's eyes. But getting back to what this is about, you have to become really, really good at learning. You have to become really, really good at producing, because this is what an employer wants. An employer wants somebody who is what they call a self-starter. What they really mean is a self-finisher. They want somebody who can motivate themselves to start the job in the middle of the job where it all starts to look hopeless. They can find their way through that. And when it gets to the end of the job, they can finish it and deliver it. And if it's on time, even better. But if it's not on time, they can explain. They can say, okay, well, here's what I ran into. And don't try to cover up. Don't try to make yourself look like you never make mistakes, because that's bullshit and everybody knows that. Just, say, okay, here's some of the stuff that I ran into. Here's how I addressed that. And here's how I'm back on track. And here's how this is going to get to completion. And then do it, deliver it. You can learn to do that. You can learn to be that person by setting projects for yourself. Give yourself, look at the whole thing. Say, okay, here's all the pieces that I'm gonna have to put together. Here's how long it's gonna take me to do each of those pieces. And give yourself a schedule, give yourself a deadline, and do it and produce it. Make that your job. Now, you may, at the same time, you may have another job that's paying the bills. Because if you're like me, you didn't have, parents or family or somebody to take care of you during this time. So, I would work my day job, whatever it was. It was usually something that I made up for myself, because that was the only kinds of jobs I could get without a high school diploma. Like for a while in the 70s during the energy crisis, I went to all the big tall buildings in downtown LA, because I figured that's where the rich people were on the top floors of the big tall buildings. And I was right. I don't know how that works. And I would go up there and I would go around to all the different offices, and I would say, hey, for $20, I'll take your car and I'll wait in line for gas and I'll get your car filled up for you. And I would do, 5 or 6 or 7 of those a day. I'd be driving all these fancy cars and, waiting in line and listening to the radio really loud, and, I'd make $100 a day, maybe a little more, which back in the 70s, it was enough for a teenager to live on and to live pretty well on. But then in the evening, I would set out on my projects and I would do my projects, whatever that was. Sometimes it was a music project. Sometimes it was an electronics project. Sometimes it was learning software. Sometimes, it was learning something else that interested me. And this has always been my life. I mean, to this day, you'll find me sitting here working up until the time that I hand pink waving. Hey, do I have? No, I don't have a pink hand. So you'll find me. I mean, I don't do idle. I don't like it, and it's not good for me. This is something that I learned early on. Back in the 70s, I had a problem with drugs, and I've been now clean and sober for 43 years. Yes, thank you. And I realized that was just my reaction to being bored. And, it's obviously more than that. There's physiological and brain chemistry things that make some of us prone to addiction. And I'm not I'm not belittling any of that, but my way out of it was to never be bored. And I hate being bored. And this is one of the reasons I don't vacation well. When I go off on vacations, when I'm by myself on a vacation, I'm fine because I can just walk out of the hotel and walk around and I can find something interesting or some adventure or something. When I'm with somebody else who wants to like sit on the beach, or I'm no good at sitting on the beach. That's not anything that I've ever enjoyed. So
Not even if you have a good book.
That's what I did in Cancun
Okay.
with Rose earlier this year. Is I brought reading material to the beach, and she would sit there and sand herself, and I'd be fully clothed and under the umbrella, and
You can have someone
bottle.
fanning you with a leaf
Oh, if that
and
would have been
feeding you
great.
grapes.
Yeah. A bottle of Topo Chico.
Yes.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
Topo
What Topo
Chico
Chico
man.
is. Yeah. It's probably my favorite sparkling water in the world. So, that's my recommendation. Start some projects, finish some projects, and, do it in the time that you make for yourself to do it. And then when you go and get a job, you can say, they can say, what's your experience? Well, you can list your projects. I did this, I did this, I did this, and list it on your resume. And, and then you go in for the interview and you bring your stack of code. Printouts of code impress people. I have, Ricky knows in my file cabinet, I have some big stacks of code from way back when.
Early code, vintage code, antique code.
Vintage C.
Yep.
Yeah.
You'll have to show us the stack one day.
Yeah. Okay. Next time you're here. All right. So that's what I have on that subject. I hope it's helpful because I know that this is something that people think about. And now for our musical interlude. I'm going to do this one. I'm pretty sure this is the one. Here, maybe I can do it this way. What if I do this? Oh yeah, I think I can do that. And yeah. All right, y'all see that? I can't hear you. Did you say so? Oh, you're muted.
Oh yeah. I can see it.
So this is baby metal. This is so the idea was they wanted an idol band. That's what they call them in Japan. The J-pop bands. They wanted an idol band that did metal. And so this is what they came up with, and it's absolutely brilliant.
Chocolate.
So incredibly hard. It's giving a Gretzko, if you've seen that.
What'd you say?
I said it's giving a Gretzko. It's on Netflix. If you've seen it, it's very much the same.
Well, I don't know what
but
that
different.
is. No. They're eating the chocolate. Sasha Pip.
Yep. That was awesome.
That is so Japanese.
So, are you familiar with Japanese country music?
No, I'm familiar with a lot of Japanese jazz, which is really great.
Japanese
stuff.
country music. I have so many albums. So back when I was a kid, I was probably about 12 or 13. My neighbor, my next door neighbor, she was from Japan. And maybe once or twice a year, her son would fly in from Japan. And her son was this absolute legendary, like rock star producer, like this lead of this country band in Japan. And it was Japanese country music. And he definitely took a not normal liking to both my sister and I. And on multiple occasions, tried to get us to go back to Japan with him and, learn the language and sing the music and go on stage and go on his private jet. And my mom always encouraged it very much. Oh, he likes you girls. He's going to take you guys and make you famous in Japan. And looking back, okay, maybe that was not the move. But yeah, he was definitely cool. And on more than one occasion, he would take off like the jacket that he was wearing. If I would say, oh, I like your jacket, he would just take off the jacket and hand it to me and refuse to take it back. Here, it's yours now. It's yours. This is your jacket now. I still have one in my closet that I wear on a regular basis because it's a pretty cool jacket. And he would come every like half a year or whatever. He'd come down and he'd like stay for a week and give us a whole bunch of his CDs that were signed by him. And it was Japanese country. And gosh, I wish I could remember the name of the band, but his name was yeah, I won't talk to him, but he may or may not share the same name as a very famous Mario character.
Okay. So Yoshi what?
I know his last name. That I won't give out, but yes, his first name may or may not have been Yoshi, and he was a famous country music singer in Japan.
Oh, I was gonna say Bowser.
No, Yoshi. Yes, his name was Yoshi. I have a great aunt named Yoshi as well, so it's a kind of a gender neutral name.
Is it Yoshi Sekiguchi? The Japanese Hank Williams?
I don't know, man. I said I don't know, man. That was fast. I don't know.
Oh, born in 1931.
No,
So
no,
he's not as old as that. Okay, that was a good guess though, right?
Very good guess.
It was a very good guess. It was very close.
Oh my God.
But yeah, he was in a band.
Okay.
And he wanted us to like just, I don't know, be a couple of preteen girls jumping around on stage, I guess. Although that was probably
that does sell in Japan. I mean, all those
for
girls
sure.
in that baby metal band. I mean, at the time that video was made, they were all under 18. And I know that that's part of the kawaii culture. I don't know if it still is. I know that it was. Underage girls in sexy schoolgirl clothes, and doing those kinds of moves on the stage.
Yeah.
I think it's hysterical. I mean, the mouse commercial is just.
I'm really glad we got to debut that.
The
opportunity to do that today.
Yeah, the baby metal. I mean, their band is off the charts. The guys really, really rock. I mean, they were backed by an established metal band, and I mean, it helps a lot that the music was that good. And obviously their harmonies are really, really tight. They were well-trained singers, and apparently they're still going today. They did a few tours like with metal festivals, and it took them a while to get accepted into the metal community because they're so different.
Yeah, but they go hard.
Their music rocks. Yeah. So, but the whole thing with singing about chocolate and the moves that go like rubbing the tongue. and you know, doing the chopsticks eating wood. Anyway, yeah, that's all I got today. How about you guys?
I got
That's-
nothing.
I got nothing either.
Yeah,
I had a really here. I'll just throw this out there. I had a really bad migraine today
oh,
just because the weather's been all over the place.
yeah.
And I've recovered from the migraine, but the time that it was affecting me, like pushing through that to like get through the day, it just absolutely drains me.
Yeah.
So when the headache finally goes away and I physically feel better, I'm like mentally just drained. So I apologize. That is why I was yawning. Porcupine. He also said something about Kirsten Professor Evil. Am I Professor Evil? Was my professor Professor Evil? Who are we talking about?
Yeah, I think
I'm
he's talking
so
about your
confused.
professor.
So if
Yeah.
you could
I
spell
think he's
that one
talking
out
about
for
your
me.
professor. He's not talking about you.
You never know.
Porcupine would never say anything like that about you.
Yeah, they followed it up with purple hearts, man.
You
Yeah.
right.
Porcupine loves you.
Yeah. Well, see, I don't get
Porcupine's
the
our best
emojis
friend.
here. I don't get the emojis here on the internal chat.
That's okay. Here, I'll send one. Let's see. Here, this way you can see it. It's always this one, this purple heart.
Yeah, you see, that just shows up as, oh, I see. There you go. Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's lit. It's lit, boys.
All right. So I am falling asleep. You know, today I had a doctor's visit for a bunch of tests. You know, hopefully I'm gonna live. I think there's a good chance I'm gonna live. And of course I am. They were checking my stomach to see about my hiatal hernia, which is a very common thing, but I think I got it pretty bad. And they took x-rays of my knees to, you know, see if I need new knees. I think I do. I think I would like to have like teenage knees where I could, you know, still jump around, squats and like that.
Squats.
That'd be really awesome. But I can't. As I say, you know, getting old is hard, but it sure beats the alternative.
Ooh,
Nice.
that's deep.
I'm not going to drop this mic. This is actually a very expensive mic.
No, that's a nice.
Good. Yeah, don't.
A hypothetical mic drop.
Hypothetical mic drop.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah. So have a great evening, y'all. We will see you tomorrow morning. I hope this hope the chat about, you know, how to get experience was helpful. I've been wanting to do that for a while.
I thought it was really good.
Yeah. And you know, have a great evening. Take care of yourselves, drink plenty of water, and get some good sleep. Everybody's falling asleep here. The kitty's falling asleep. I'm falling asleep. We will see you tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock Pacific here from fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. Love you.